Hello class, this is the second video for section 1.6. In this video we're going to learn how to multiply two binomials using a technique called FOIL. Many of you have seen this at some point in your math career, but we're going to revisit the topic again here and now. Okay, so first, if you spell the word FOIL, what do the letters stand for, right? The F stands for first term, the O stands for outer term, the I stands for inner, and the L stands for last terms. So if I were to give you this problem where I say multiply these two binomials, the first term would be the first term, the first thing you see in each term. So the first thing I see in this A plus 6 term is the A. And the first thing I see in the A plus 3 term is the A, so you'll notice we have A times A. Next letter is the O for outer, so the outer terms would be the A and the 3, right? The outer term for each piece would be the A and the 3, so you see we have 3 times A. The inner terms would be the 6 times the A, which gives me 6A. And then the last terms would be the 6 and the 3, right? So when we add up all of these values, right, A times A is A squared. That's where you see the A squared come from. 3 times A is 3A, so that's where my 3A would come from. 6 times A is 6A, and 6 times 3 is 18. So when I combine like terms where I can, right, the 3A and the 6A become 9A, and this is my final answer, right? A squared plus 9A plus 18, okay? So we have a few practice problems that we can run through. Let's try it again. So if I look at number 11, and again, practice exercises, the answers are on the back of the book, so I'm not going to do all of these problems, but you can check your answers for the problems I don't do. So again, first term, I'll do my x times x, right? Then you can think of your outer terms, x times 3, your inner terms, 5 times x, and your last term, 5 times 3. Right? So when I write this out, right, the x times x gives me x squared, right? That was the first terms. And then my outer terms were the x times 3, so that's 3x. My inner terms were 5 times x. And my last term were the 5 times 3, which is 15. Okay, and when I simplify, I'm left with x squared plus 8x plus 15. Okay, and that would be your answer for number 11. Okay, let's try another one. Let's look at number 14. All right, so again, FOIL, my first terms would be the x times x, which we know to be x squared. Then my outer terms would be the x times 3, which we would call 3x. My inner term would be negative 5 times x, which is negative 5x. And my last term would be negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Okay. Once we combine like terms, right, the 3x and the 5x, we'd be left with x squared. 3x minus 5x is minus 2x minus 15. Right. This would be our final answer for number 14. Okay. And just to be safe, we'll try one more. If you look at this number 19, right, the 2x minus 3 squared is really the same thing as 2x minus 3 times 2x minus 3, right? It's repeated multiplication, right? This 2 means we multiply what's in parentheses by itself twice. Now when we do our first term, right, 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Our outer term would be 2x times negative 3, which is negative 6x. Our inner term is negative 3 times 2x, which is negative 6x. And our last term would be negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 9. When we combine our like terms, I have negative 6x plus another negative 6x. That would give me negative 12x, and then plus 9. So this would be our final answer for number 19. Okay? Let's keep working. The last thing I want to do is evaluating expressions. So for example, if I say to you evaluate 2x plus 3, knowing that x is equal to 2, what you would do is you would replace the x with 2, right? So you notice how instead of 2x, they now say 2 times 2, because we replaced the x with 2. And then we get an answer of 7, right? And if I had something like x squared, and I know that x equals 5, so you're going to basically square the 5, which would be 5 times 5 is 25, okay? And if I had negative 5, well, if I square negative 5, you end up with negative 5 times negative 5 is 25, okay? And they give you a few more problems to practice, and they give you the answers to the right, so they show you what to do for these problems. So take a moment, maybe pause the video, try to work through these. And then when you're done with that, we'll look at a few problems that do not have the answers in front of them. So for example, practice problems 21 to 26. Yes, the answers are in the back of the book, but let's try to do some without looking at the answers. So I have 6 minus x. Oops, pen's acting up. Right, so I'm going to replace this x with negative 8. So I like to rewrite the problem as 6 minus and put the parentheses around the variable. And then if I know x is equal to negative 8, I just drop the negative 8 in my parentheses. So now I have 6 minus a minus 8. So the double negative makes it a positive. So you end up with 6 plus 8, which equals 14. Okay. If I look at something like number 24, I'm going to replace the a with negative 5, the b with 1, and the c with negative 4. So again, I'm going to write everything with parentheses. Right? So every time I had a letter, I replaced it with parentheses. And now I'm going to drop the negative 5 in where a was. I'm going to put the 1 where b was. And the negative 4 where c was. So now you're left, and this is a little sloppy, I apologize. So you're left with negative 5 times 1 minus a minus 4, right? So that becomes a plus. So this is now negative 5 times 5, which equals negative 25, okay? And again, I apologize for the handwriting. It's a little sloppy writing on my tablet. Okay, let's look at one more. If I do number 23, so I have the square root of 4 times x squared. So I replace the x with parentheses, and then I drop the 3 in. So now it looks like you have the square root of 4 times 9, right, because 3 squared is 9, which equals the square root of 36, and we know the square root of 36 is 6, okay? So when you get time, I'd like you to go through the remaining problems, 21 to 28 on your own. Again, the answers are on the back of the book. If you have trouble or you get stuck, let's talk about it during my Zoom session. Thank you for watching. Oh, and I do want to mention before I go that the next page has a summary, as always. Try to go complete the summary. And again, the answers to the summary are on the back of the book, so you can check your work. And this is a great way to really see, do you understand the meat of section 1.6? All right, thank you for watching.